Good day to everyone. Thank you for coming and thank you for joining us here in a short discussion about gender and society. But before we start, I would like to know your names, age, and about your identity. Can you say something about yourself?
I'm Valerie and I'm 33 years old. I am a teacher at a government school here.
And what's your
I'm
name?
Arnel, I'm 34 years old and I am a science teacher.
Science teacher. What is your name?
I'm Liza, I'm 42 years old and I'm a music teacher.
Music teacher. And how
I
about you?
am Marvin Vidal from Sarasas. I'm 40 years old.
And a teacher also. And what is your name?
I'm Nida and I'm a teacher here. I'm 39 years old.
39 years old. So I'm happy that you are here with me. And you, of course.
And I'm Emma. I'm 46, teaching at Sarasat, and I'm teaching social studies.
Wow, great position in the school. But before we start, I would like to give you these handouts. And so that you will understand clearly what we are talking about, the gender and society. Now, if our main points that we're going to talk about here is early gender socialization and how does early it started. Now, before we talk about these main points that we have, I would like to give you some words that brings in these main points, like sex, gender, gender identity, gender expression, and lastly is sexual orientation. Now, as we talk about these things, we're going to define each term so that we can understand clearly what we're going to talk about here. Now, I would like to ask you, what is sex? You can start. Okay, Arnel?
Sex refers to a person's biological status and is typically categorized as male, female, or intersex.
So it's very clear that we are talking about biological status, that is to identify oneself as male, female, and intersex. Okay. Next, what is gender?
Gender refers to the attitudes, feelings, and behaviors that a given culture associates with a person's biological sex.
Okay. Next, we are talking behavior. We are talking about here as behavior that is compatible with cultural expectations is referred to as what kind of gender? Normative gender. And behavior that are viewed as incompatible with these expectations constitute gender non-conformity. So what is gender identity? Okay?
Gender identity refers to one's sense of oneself as male, female, or transgender. When one's gender identity and biological sex are not congruent, the individual may identify as transsexual or as another transgender category.
Okay. Now, gender expression. What is gender expression? Okay.
Gender expression refers to the way in which a person acts to communicate gender within a given culture.
Okay. What are some examples? Can you cite some examples?
Like clothing, communication pattern.
And many more. Do you have any in your mind example that you can share to us in expressing one's gender? How about the color that you wear, isn't it? When the color that you wear, it means to say that when blue, you know that it is boy. And when it is pink, you know that it is girls. That is one also example of gender expression. And how about what is sexual orientation? Yes?
Sexual orientation refers to the sex of those to whom one is sexually and romantically attracted.
Okay. So I do hope that it is clear to all of you what we are talking about here, these words. So that this, when we talk to our main points, there will be a background in your mind what we are talking about. Okay. Now, let's go to our main points. What is gender socialization? Early gender socialization. So I would like to give you some points here that I have learned in Social Science 13 in our Module 1. Gender socialization undergoes process. We cannot detect it. It just goes first at birth. This one, it starts at birth and involves learning cultural role according to one's sex. Now, from the start, boys and girls are treated differently by people in their own environment. Example, can you give me some example?
Parents.
Parents can give us, another one? Siblings. Caregivers, yes. And some friends, of course. No? Friends and some our neighbors or something like classmates. Now, several and thus learn the difference between boys and girls, women and men. Now, differing parental and social expectations of boys and girls and giving children gender, and this is what we call gender socialization. Now, several examples have been provided from different parts of the world confirming that gender socialization is intertwined with the ethnic and religious values of a society. I do hope that you agree with that. Okay. Now, the gender socialization continues throughout the life cycle. It continues so that we can understand how they started and how it has been given this kind of maturation to know this kind of gender socialization. Now, it is also clear from the comments. There are some comments that has been clear. Can you cite it, Nida? Can you read it, Nida?
It is also clear from the comments received that gender socialization is culturally bound.
Yes, it is culturally bound. So, as boys are favored over girls in most cultures, this is reflected in their self-image. Now, boys are often more what? Can you tell me? Boys are more assertive and demanding. While girls, can you tell me what is girls?
Submissive and modest.
Yeah, submissive and modest. Is it true that girls are modest and assertive as of now? Can you tell me? I think there's some changes already. Yeah.
And
Now,
I think there's I mean, as boys are favored over girls, I think in our time is not the case already.
Yes, that's right. I believe in that. Because as the days goes by, years goes by, it changes.
Yeah, but in some cultures, it still happens.
That's right. Good. Now, I have some questions that arise here. Can you read that question, Arnel?
How can we improve our understanding and promote positive early gender socialization?
So how can we improve? But there are some people that I'm going to ask you to read what they said according to them. So according to Gary Barker, okay?
According to Gary Barker, the positive is a term and is culturally specific.
That's right, culturally specific. And how about Hajara? Okay, can you tell me about Hajara?
Hajara
According
says
to
that religious values and upbringing are intertwined with cultural
Oh,
values.
that's another one fact that we need to know. Next, how about Swahili? Can you tell me about Swahili?
Christy Swatley, referring to her middle class United States upbringing, pointed out to many similarities in gender conditioning around the world.
Okay. Now, there's another question that I would like you to understand. And the answer about this is also in our handouts. But later you will read it one by one. So, what could make boys and girls feel more positive about the gender roles attributed to their sex. Do you have any in your mind before we read this? Because there are pathways, there are some pathways that we're going to talk about towards positive gender socialization. So if there is not, so I will ask you to read these pathways that can start in learning some of positive gender socialization in the future. Okay, can you read?
Starting with what parents, children, and local leaders say about gender roles and expectations. Identity, specific points of entry and opportunity for promoting change.
Yes, that's right. That is one positive. Yes, gender socialization. Okay, next. Can you give me?
Okay, second one, map gender roles in specific settings, understanding where change is already happening, and how the change can be stopped or accelerated.
Oh, good. Next, another one. Can you read?
Assess the environment for young children at home, examining how a literate home environment may benefit a child's learning at school, and how material deprivation may hinder it.
Okay, that's good. Next. Can
Foster greater engagement of men in the care of the children.
Okay. Who?
Focus on parenting and child-rearing patterns in the family, including the extended family and community.
And lastly.
Focus on adult parents of both sexes, as well as on community religious leaders. Encourage parents to participate in adult education classes that integrate religion and a formal Western curriculum so that they can see the need for and benefits of literacy for their daughters and wives.
Okay. So these are the pathways towards positive gender socialization. Is there anything more that you need to add? Is there anything that you know that can make us good starting points for gender or for boys and girls? Do you have anything more? So if there's nothing more, this list of recommendations for positive gender socialization is a good starting point, right? If you have anything more to add, maybe later, so you can tell me as you are thinking. But it is also a reminder that there is a vast knowledge gap. So, as the summary of what we are talking about here, this discussion draws attention to an important socialization process that starts at birth. Right? It always starts at birth. Now, with continues throughout the life cycle and contributes immensely to the gender disparities and inequalities faced by girls and women in school and in later life. It also, however, it is also highlighted that the needs for further analysis and research to elaborate on gender socialization that is embedded in our cultural child-rearing patterns. Now, this is the end of our discussion, but before we close our discussion, do you have anything more to say? Do you have any positive output? You want to add more to our discussion? So I do hope that it's all clear to us that the gender socialization and the society is a wide range of understanding, especially of because we know that we have in this world we have only boys and girls, but it's not happening. There are some intersexual, homosexual, but we just only choose the best topic that we can talk today because of we have a short time of 15 to 18 minutes. So I do hope that we can continue next time if you don't have anything to say. So thank you very much. See you again next time. 1 Okay, so may you say goodbye